Here it is. Protesters, police clash after G20 in Pittsburgh. Now, they say that they used rubber bullets and tear gas to disperse 40 demonstrators that gathered at the plaza. Listen, they arrested well over 40 people. Okay, they don't say anything about arrests here either, Now, instead of, again, bringing in regular police officers, dealing with perhaps a swarthy element, if you will, what do? They surround us military style. They put on the gas masks. They fire tear gas, rubber bullets into the crowd. They hype it up. They beat people with batons. And then they say, you have to leave, you have to leave. Too late. Here we go, boys. And it's beating town USA. I mean, tell me what, in the video, you can see you just for about, 2 or 3 seconds. It was about the last 2 or 3 seconds that I did see you, and I even warned you. I believe I said to you, hey, Rob, watch out. I almost just got arrested. It looks like they're about to arrest people.
No, you said, I think they're coming, so watch out. And so I moved up the hill. I said, well, I'll get up here. This will be a safer spot. And then they started pushing protesters into that little, it's a green hillside when there's a little church in the middle, and they were pushing them through the hedgerows. Mm-hmm. And the hedgerows had a fence in the center, so people couldn't just go through the hedgerow. They had to go over a fence as well. People are dragging their stuff out. They're getting hit. They're getting pushed into this thing. They're saying, hey, man, I'm trying to leave. Boom, that wrong answer, pushing them in. They're all coming up the hill. And so I'm up the hill and I'm shooting stuff. And then I see a bunch of them try to get into, there's a little church right there. And I guess they were trying to get in and say, hey, we're going to seclude, we're going to be in here.
Yeah, we're going to hang back, and hopefully we won't get arrested afterwards. I was lucky enough to get through a pack of about 5 or 6 while they were trying to create a quote unquote line. That's what they do. Come on, form the line. And I put my hands up, I had my camera rolling, and I just said, all right, I'm going. I was able to get outside and then go down side streets because they kept expanding the operation and cordoning off other streets. And that was later that I got the text from Josh and Cindy Sheehan that they were just mercilessly unloading on the gas canisters. Yeah. And it was kind of at that same point while I was traveling out of the city trying to go around the main roads. And actually, I walked 5 miles to the south side. I walked 5 miles to get out of there because, Jones was telling me to duck into a restaurant, into a coffee shop, into a bar. He didn't understand that entire area had been cordoned off. And the students couldn't even get to their vehicles, and in some cases couldn't get to their dorm rooms.
It was total lockdown, and I thought I had a back door to me. There was a little archway where the dorms were that you could get into, and I'm like, well, when they get close enough, I'll just duck back here. Well, I turn around, they start pouring out through that way, and then they start closing off that back entrance that I thought I had. And so then I got close to the We Are Change guys because they were actually going up to the cops saying, hey, we're trying to peaceably demonstrate where, how do we get out of here? What do we do? And I figured I'd go out with them. I saw a reporter get out with her credentials.
We have that on the tape, actually.
Yeah. And so I tried to get out. After her, I got a little bit from Luke, and then I tried to show mine. They're like, on the floor, sir. I said, but I'm press. I am press. I don't know what more, and I'm showing them my press pass. A lady trooper, I could tell from her long ponytail. That was the only way I could tell because she had a gas mask on. She starts shining a light in my face. She grabs the press pass. She goes, he's no good. Pushes him back. On the floor, sir. On the floor for your own safety. And then that was it. Then it was Zip Tie City, and they were spraying the young group of students that were laying down complying to everything the officers were telling them. And that's what you get for.
Well, I mean, you look at the video, okay? The kid's trying to get away on his bike. He's got a bike helmet on, He's wearing a peace flag. He's a skinny student, okay? He's one of the few people that are actually protesting because, again, this is a group of around 200 to 300 people max. Again, 1,200 military and riot police. And people saying that there weren't military there, I clearly show a couple of National Guard in full gear. The LRAD weapons are out. The initial police officers that are in kind of a camo uniform, those are actually Miami-Dade police officers that came all the way up. Cindy Sheehan pointed that out to me.
There were some from Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, they were coming from all over, to get that OT money.
$19 million budget for this.
Yeah, they had to arrest some people. And I think the total that I heard him say was around between 120 and 140.
And yet it's a total blackout. No one got detained. No one's mentioned that anyone was detained whatsoever. It's just unbelievable. I
think that was just a cover. That was a cover to grab people and fingerprint them.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, the process.
Well, it's not only test the process; it's to database you into now you're a political dissident.
Right.
Okay. We may not have any charges against you, but you know what? We get to keep your fingerprints anyway because in the old system. you're innocent until proven guilty. So in other words, if you got picked up on, say, a disorderly conduct charge for something you did in a bar somewhere or somewhere, in a public place, they'll take your fingerprints, but then you go to trial. And let's say you plea it down. Okay. It's not even a misdemeanor. They're supposed to, you can call them up. You say, listen, I want my fingerprints back. I wasn't found guilty of anything.
Right.
And they're supposed to send those to you, and they're not supposed to be put into any system. Now, with these digital fingerprints, you're going to tell me
they're already across the world.
I mean, exactly. They're not getting rid of that information. That's databased hardcore in a hard drive somewhere and in one of these fusion center databases. And that's what's really scary to me. I mean, all these, I can't tell you how many, right in the very beginning. Remember the first time we were in the Starbucks and the Wednesday when we got there, or the first morning, they started to line up. And this was basically getting everybody ready. This
wasn't to the police presence.
No one was there yet. They had the National Guard fatigues on the bottom. They said that they were police and not military when I asked them, but as soon as I started asking them why they were wearing military fatigues, they stopped talking to me.
Right.
And immediately, what happens? Somebody comes up to me. They start taking my picture and filming me. Hey, they can get my good side all day. I've got nothing to hide. The Department of Defense has a website trying to debunk loose change. I mean,
we walked past those bike cops, that group of bike cops. Yep. You did a shot of them, and then we were shooting a sign.
An obey sign.
Turn around. And there he is, taking pictures of us, looking right at us. And so we shot the cameras back at him.
And even on Friday night, so one of the big things that I was filming outside of the riot, police out of control, was all the documentation they were doing. They were armed with video cameras all over the place. So just like in London, England, when this happens, they're putting you into a database now. You're being profiled.
It's your picture. They're taking that digital image.
And they're getting you ready for the biometrics, the scanning, the face cameras, Project Natal. I'm sure this is going to integrate great with the Xbox deal, because now on Xbox, you're just going to give up your whole body image, and they're going to be able to mark that out in a database with all the other digital images. If you're a protester and you happen to also like to play Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter online, or one of these other games where you scan your body in all of a sudden with this new program, they're going to have your biometric information. That's what the danger is. That's what the threat is. You're just giving away all your info. I mean, we're on Facebook constantly. I mean, I use it as a tool, but some people are updating their mood 4 or 5 times a day, taking pictures of their life every single day. These are my friends. These are my family. This is what matters to me. So they're going to have a lot of pressure points for people that they normally didn't have. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're going to know every little bit about you and have access to that information like never before, Rob. It's just scary to me.
They'll send 100 guys with ski masks or with this body armor. I mean, these are stormtroopers. Look at this. And they're afraid of unarmed people. You could tell they were totally scared. They'd start shoring up and get their shields ready, and it was ridiculous.
Well, the first girl I show during the protest is the student that goes on the ground. And even I couldn't help myself. Usually I keep my mouth shut as long as I can. But I was like, hey, guys, realize this is just a young girl in front of you. I mean, because the one guy really got into the position. He started going like this. He had this. And someone else got behind him like he was going to have to hold some kind of a position. Yeah. There was maybe 5 people behind her, a row of maybe 5 and a group of maybe 20 or 30. It was not large at all. When you see Luke Radowski with his blue bullhorn, how many people are around him? 15, 20 people? And how many police are there?
And what is he preaching?
He's preaching the work of Gandhi, of Martin Luther King Jr., of a peaceful resistance. And they don't want to hear that. He even says, look, if I see somebody with a rock, I will stop them from throwing it. If I see someone lighting a fire, I will put it out. Yet already on the comments on this video we just posted over at INFOWARRIOR.com in the YouTube section, people are like, what did you want them to do? Do you want them to set fire to the city? No one was going to set fire to the city.
That wasn't going to happen.
Shenley Plaza is huge. When we first got on the scene, I had to actually look around for the protesters because all I saw were college kids hanging out on a Friday night. It was Friday night. It was drinking time.
Well, and the night before we drove by there, and there was supposedly a report that they were burning things in front of the Cathedral of Learning. We drove past that at probably 20 minutes before we heard that report. And we didn't see anything going on out there. There wasn't the police presence like there was on Friday. So I don't even know if that was even a real thing. We heard it on some corporate radio station, too. They're like, oh, Bob's getting a report that there's burning couches over at the Cathedral of Learning, and they're setting fire to dumpsters.
And that was
nothing there.
And what was that? That was on Thursday evening. Let me just say this. Thursday evening, supposedly, Windows were broken all over. Yet, from our protest, we saw maybe 1 or 2 eggs. We saw a couple, and I followed one of the people who spray painted something. There was no, I taped a couple anarchists grabbing a dumpster and flipping it over into an abandoned street. It was immediately picked up and put back. A couple of wooden boards and stuff like that. Nothing major whatsoever. Nothing that couldn't have been handled by people without riot gear.
Regular people.
Regular police officers could have handled this detail, but we need an excuse to bring in military checkpoints, and that's what they were. Military checkpoints with Humvees everywhere. Final segment with Rob Dew coming up after this. Luke Radowski at the top of the hour. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.